So, nice to be here with you this morning, or this afternoon if you're watching it later on the catch-up. If FB is playing games with me, then you won't be able to watch it later. This will be it. We shall see. We shall see. So I think I'm 1 minute early. Morning. And I just wanted to share something with you because we're going to do some side-lying shoulder stuff and side bends today. So we're working on this rib cage, shoulders, and let's face it, who hasn't got a mobile phone these days or a laptop these days that they're all like this? I was saying my bloke hasn't got a mobile phone. He is still a caveman when it comes to things like that, which is great. But most of us have got rounded shoulders and our heads forward like this. And how many times do we complain about our shoulders aching and our neck aching and our jaw aching? Or we get headaches and all this kind of stuff and we wonder why. I just wanted to share something with you because sometimes even though your shoulders may be like this, it's not always the shoulder that is the issue. This fascinated me when I first saw it. Can you see that with this? Because we always talk about muscles, aren't we? Where muscles start and where muscles end. Like this is your bicep. This is where your bicep is in your elbow and it goes up to here and it flexes your arm like that. Strong person. And your tricep does the opposite. So let's look at the neck here. So if we come all the way up, can I tell you the splenoid and the rhomboids? Okay, come all the way up into the neck. So sometimes if you've really got neck pain on that side of the body, doesn't mean to say that that side of your neck is the issue. It might be complaining because there's something going on this side because it attaches across. Fascinating, yes, fascinating. So if you've got pain in the shoulder blade, doesn't always mean that is your shoulder blade that is a problem. It could be something to do with the opposite side of your neck. So if you habitually or have had a desk job most of your life, or if you tend to sit on your sofa in the evenings with your feet tucked up underneath you to one side, and maybe you're watching the telly and your neck's in this position, or you're looking at your laptop, doing a bit of shopping, scrolling through Instagram or something like that. Bad habits, yes. If the neck is short, tilting over onto this side, these are going to get shorter. And this will complain because this will get a little bit more stretch because it's being pulled in that direction and your shoulder blade will be all over the place. Just wanted to share it with you, okay? So it's not always where the pain is that is the problem. So let's move, yes? So you're going to lie down on your right side. Let's move that out of the way. And you're going to bend your knees. When you get there, your head is resting either on a pillow or a cushion or a blanket or on your hand. Sometimes it's quite tricky to get your hand back here depending on how this shoulder feels. And you're just going to bring your attention to your left shoulder. So your knees are bent, knees and feet are stacked on top of each other. Your left shoulder is going to draw a circle. So start up towards your ear, go back behind you, go down to your hip and go back forwards. Up to your ear, back to the hip and forward. So you're just rotating around. You're drawing a circle on the ceiling. If you had a pencil on the side of your shoulder, imagine that is drawing a circle on your ceiling. And then when you come back to the forwards position, go back the other way, unwind the circle. So even though you're noticing the circle, your shoulder blade is going in all directions. The muscles in your back are moving that shoulder blade. So we're bringing the sense back, sensing the shoulder blade, bringing it back to noticing that movement. And then you're just going to go up and down, drawing a line up to the ear and down to your hip. Just going up and down and up and down and up and down. One more, and up and down. And then just forwards and backwards. Trying not to move the body or the spine, just keeping that nice and steady. So the shoulder blade, you'll notice as the shoulder as your arm or your shoulder moves forward, your shoulder blade moves away from the spine, and as it goes back, your shoulder blade moves towards your spine. So if most of your time is spent in a forward, rounded shouldered position, your shoulder blade will be moving away from your spine, and that inhibits that area, makes the muscles feel like they're on a stretch, and the front of the body will be tighter. So when you start to move your arm away and your shoulder blade hugs your spine, you'll be opening up some space between the front of the arm and your collarbone. So notice that little seesawing movement going on, a little conversation between the front and the back of the body. So think about where we've just been. We've gone up and down and front and back. So let's join them together like a little diamond. So go forwards, draw a line up to the ear, draw a line back behind you, and draw a line down to the pelvis, the hip bone. Go forward again in front of you, go up to the ear, go back behind you, go down to the top of your leg, go forward. You might feel some creaking and crunching going on. Go up to the ear, go back down to the pelvis. One more, drawing that diamond shape. And then rest it and bring your hand then out in front of you. So hand touches the floor. Reach forward and reach back as if you're just caressing the floor with your palm, and the body will start to move a little bit. You might notice your top knee starts to press forward as if it wants to go over the bottom leg. But allow that shoulder blade to move away from the spine when the hand reaches forward, and the shoulder blade to come back towards the spine as it comes back. And as you go forward, the nose might go towards the floor, and when you come back, the nose might lift towards the ceiling, because your head can move as well. You're allowing that neck to join in. You're not holding on to any tension. Allow it to feel easy movement. And then keeping it forward, take the hand up above the head. So your fingertips are going to stay on the floor as much as possible, and they start to trace a line. And just notice where the hand starts to turn, so the palm faces the ceiling, and you bring the arm back and around. Oh, that's lovely. And then come back around above the head, tracing that line until you're back to where you started. So the knees are staying bent. You might find the top knee might want to drop back a little bit because your back of the rib cage is trying to get to the floor. And then you come back and around. And you might find if you are particularly tight in this arm, your shoulder here or the front of your chest here, you'll start to notice a stretch, or you start to create some space there. And that's the pec minor, the front of the body. So if your shoulders are a little bit rounded forward, that muscle will definitely be a culprit in pulling that arm forward. And we're just opening up that space, stretching, creating space, so your shoulder can then quite nicely go back towards your spine. Let me do one more. There's a method in my madness, always. Oh, that is so nice. Ooh. And then you're going to take the hand up to the ceiling and open it up as far as it will go, and then come back. Now try this without moving your knees now, so keeping the knees together. Imagine they're stuck, the inner knees are stuck, and then take the hand up. Don't let your hips come with you, keep the pelvis still, and then open up the arm. Ooh, it might not go as far because you're relying more on your shoulder blade to come back towards your spine and your ribs here, your obliques on your ribs to help pull you round. You see? And if I wanted to cheat and touch the floor, I could move my knee. But I'm trying to reorganise the movement in my brain, so I don't use my lumbar spine to turn. I use my thoracic spine, which is the 12 bones below the neck, starts at the base of the neck and goes down and ends where your lumbar spine begins, the lower ribs. So all your ribs are attached to your thoracic spine, the middle of your body, where your rotation really comes from. Arms, shoulder blades attached to your thoracic spine. So sometimes when I showed you that picture just now when we started, so if you just joined in, you have to go back to the video, beginning of the video later to watch it. Sometimes the neck can compensate for lack of rotation in the mid-back. Okay, so you're going to keep your arm back there. Let the arm come away from the head. Let that arm come out to the side. And bring your feet into the centre so they're standing on the floor. You can shuffle yourself over. So you're lying on your back, arms are out wide. I'm going to go up into a shoulder bridge. You start to feel the back of the body moving. Flatten the back. Drop your chin towards your chest as you lift your hips. The knees and the shins reach forward over the feet. And you come back down. Use your chest bone first to drop down, and your sternum, your chest bone dropping to the floor. Then your ribs, and then your sacrum, and then your tailbone. And then you're ready to roll back up again. So press the floor away with your feet. Let the shins and the knees feel like they're reaching forwards over your toes. And then come back down, starting with the upper body, chest bone, then lower ribs, then the sacrum, and then your tailbone. So you get to be familiar as you roll back up and roll back down with the spine, how it moves, little compensation patterns that you might just not be aware of, because they just creep up on us throughout our days and months and years until we just live with them all the time, until they start to shout at you a little bit with pain or tightness. So we're just increasing that awareness, a sense of where we're moving from. What is your spine up to? How does it feel? Are there parts of your back that feel they don't want to move? Do you notice where your pelvis is? Where does it start? Where does it end? Where does your spine start? Where does your spine end? Where do your arms start and where do your arms end? Woohoo. So last one. And then let the right knee drop out to the side, bring it back in, and then change legs. So you're going to allow the pelvis to remain quite still, steady, a stillness, a quiet around the pelvis, quite like that. Feel aware of that stillness around your hips, a stillness around the sacrum. So it helps the legs to feel that they're doing the movement and they don't need help from the pelvis. The pelvis is remaining quite steady. So the legs can then have more freedom of movement. Your brain grants you more mobility in the hips if it has more stability in the pelvis. So next time your left knee goes out, let your right knee follow and roll yourself over onto that side. Ooh, choreography, it's dangerous. Lovely, so you're back on this side, on your left side, so your right shoulder now is going, draw a circle first, up to the ear, go back behind you, go down to the hip and go forward. You're drawing that lovely circle. So your hand will be moving. You might find that you're drawing a circle with your hand on the top of your leg. If you've got super long arms, your hand will be further down, or maybe in mid-air, or it might be up here on your hip or on your waist. And then reverse your circle, come back the other way. And then just go up and down towards the ear and down to the hip. Notice when your shoulder's up by your ear how short the arm is, and when your shoulder is down how long the arm is. You're reaching for your heel. And then forwards and backwards. The spine's not moving at the moment, keep it steady. Just allow the arm to do the movement and notice your shoulder blade moving away from the spine, moving towards your spine. And then let's draw that diamond shape. So take the arm up to the ear, draw a line back, take it down to the hip and take it forwards to the ear, back, down and forwards. Draw that diamond. And next time you go back up to the ear, reverse it. And you soon get to be aware of which arm, maybe is a little bit weaker than the other one because it starts to get a little bit tired. So if it gets tired, rest it for a moment. Then we're just going to go round in a circle again. And then go back the other way. And then bring the arm back out in front. Let the hand rest on the floor. Slide it forwards and slide it back. So as you slide it forward, the shoulder blade moves away from the spine, and when you slide it back, it moves towards your spine. And just notice if there's any difference from this side to the other side. If you sense your shoulder more on one side than the other, if one side feels easier to move than the other, if you notice that you're holding your breath or clenching your jaw, how does that feel? Does that restrict your movement? And then next time it's forward, take the hand up, drawing a line with your fingers. Just notice where the palm turns upwards as you bring the arm back and around, and then come back up and come back around to where you started. So I'm going to come over a little bit and then go around again. Really lovely, lovely, lovely. So your knees and your feet. Try and keep those together for a moment and see how that reorganises your movement. As if your brain realises that it can't go into the ankles or the feet or the knees or the hips as much, it will start to feel that it has to move a little bit more from where it should be moving from. The thoracic spine, your shoulder blade going back towards your spine, the ribs moving, shoulder blade trying to get down to the floor, the back of the rib cage trying to get down to the floor. Notice your face moving. Think about the nose. What's the nose up to? Where is it looking? So on this one, as you come back, you're going to take the hand up to the ceiling and open it out to the side. And notice if you have more freedom on this side than the other side, or if it feels more restricted, what your knees up to, let your knees stay stuck together, keep them glued, pelvis stay still. And just check that your shoulder isn't hugging your ear. Give yourself some space. So your shoulder blade is just hugging the lower part, and the middle part of your shoulder blade is hugging your spine. We're going towards your spine when you open up the arm. So I have more range on this side. I feel much freer on my right side. So use less effort. You're not trying to force it back there. If you find that you can get halfway or quarter of the way, and that's as far as your shoulder is going to let you go today, that's totally fine. So if you try and force it, you might lift your shoulder up towards your ear, you might use your jaw or tighten up your neck, and that's not going to help you move. It will just restrict you even more. So less effort, move with ease, so your brain feels like it's happier for you to go a little bit further each time. And just practice and play with it. So we're going to keep this one out here. Roll yourself back over onto your back, bending your knees. You're going to hug your right knee in when you get there. Oh, lovely. And then take the leg up to the ceiling. And just encourage the leg to open up at the back of the knee. Feel that you can just lengthen it out through with your hands as if you're massaging the back of the knee, noticing where the back of the knee is, where it meets the calf. I feel that you could press through the heel to open up the back of the calf a bit more, but allow your tailbone to stay heavy. Now the arms to come back down to the floor and then draw a circle with your leg. Keep the chin tucked and the chest wide and your ribs relaxed. So imagine that your leg is like your arm when you were drawing that circle forwards, back, up and down. We did first, so we were doing around that circle and then we went around the circle. So feel that you're doing that with your leg. And let's go back the other way. You're just meeting those 4 points. Chin tucked, So you're not looking behind you, heavy in the tailbone and the sacrum, so you're not squeezing your sit bones. And then bend the knee, bring the foot back down, so you can just notice the floor underneath that foot. Pick up the other leg, hug it in, notice the space behind the knee, and just gently start to encourage the back of the knee to open. So you notice your calf opening up and stretching some space there, letting it to let go. Sometimes it's the hamstrings that can feel tight in the back of the knee. Relax your toes, lengthen gently through the heel. One leg might not be as straight as the other. And then bring the arms back down and start to draw that circle. You can go in first or out first, doesn't really matter. But feel that it's like your arm and you're just noticing those 4 points as you circle. Chin stays tucked, chest is wide, and the ribs are soft. So less effort, so you don't feel that you have to tighten anything up in anywhere other part of your body to achieve the movement. And then go back the other way, so unwind that circle. Notice those 4 points. Going back the other way, unwinding. Notice if there's any difference from this side to the other. Does it feel you're drawing more of a square or a triangle? I've seen lots of different shapes. Less of a circle and more of something else. Might be inventing your own shape. And then hug the knee in. And then cross that leg over the other leg so the knees are touching. So my left leg is over my right leg. So I'm going to go to my left side. So if you're the other way around, if you've got your right leg over your left leg, you need to go to your right side. So whichever leg is on top, that's the side you're going to now drop your legs towards. And then you come back to the centre. So it's the weight of the legs that's pulling you over. So you stay on that side. We're not going over to the other side. So your back of your pelvis lifts and the lower part of the ribs lift as well. Your shoulder blades stay heavy. And then you come back this time, uncross the legs, change sides or change legs, and you go over to the other side. So whichever leg's on top, you go over to that side. So my right leg's on top, so I'm going over to my right side, keeping my left shoulder blade just relaxed, touching the floor. It's not being jammed into the floor, not using force to keep it down. It's just noticing that left shoulder blade in contact with the mat. The face stays soft and the jaw stays soft. Notice what's happening to the foot that's on the floor. It rolls onto the inside edge. Good to notice your feet, what they're up to. You like to think they've got a mind of their own, but it's your mind that's in charge of your feet. Uh-oh, they're in trouble then, they're in trouble. And then come back and uncross your legs, because we're going to play with the feet now. Okay, so allow the feet to roll in, so your knees touch, and allow the feet to roll out, so your knees roll away. Feet roll in, and feet roll out. Feet roll in, and feet roll out. Lovely. So that picture I was showing you earlier about your neck and your shoulder being attached, the left side of your neck attached to your right shoulder, and the right side of your neck attached to your left shoulder. They come down, attach across the back to your pelvis and go down the back of your legs, your hamstrings, into your calves and into your feet. So your foot position will affect what's happening up here in the neck. Woo-hoo-hoo. So think about your neck. Your feet are attached to your neck. So your legs, even though if you think your legs aren't very long, your legs are extremely long because they're attached to the back of your neck. So really, in hindsight, you're about 8 foot tall. So just let the right foot do that now. Outside edge, inside edge. Noticing the outside edge and the inside edge. How far out and in does your right foot move? Of course, that will affect your knee and your hip. It's not always knee pain that is the issue. The knee, when it's painful, is usually telling you something, that there's a restraint or a restriction in your ankle or your hip. Because your knee joint is in the middle, and that's the one that usually gets overused. Because the other two, just gone AWOL. They're probably just sitting on a beach somewhere. And then come back and change legs, so that the left leg do the same thing. The foot's rolling in and out, and notice how that leg moves. Is your knee going out further? What's happening up here in the hip, where the femur meets your pelvis? Is it rolling in and out? What's happening? What is going on? Such a nice movement to free up the hips. And then we're going to come back to pressing the feet back into the floor as we come back up into the bridge. So with the bridge, we're really working on not just mobilising the spine, so just working through the movement in your own time, rolling up and down as I'm chatting. We're working on strengthening, waking up these amazing glutes, which help to stabilise the pelvis, strengthening the muscles of the hip area. So your brain will allow your hips to have more mobility, so your knees don't have to go so crazy, which will allow your neck to free up in the long run. Hey! So you get more mobility here in your thoracic spine, and you get stability around the pelvis. Ooh, lovely. Anybody would think, I knew what I was doing. So you're going to stay up there on the next one, and we're just going to see if you can bring some awareness to squeezing the glutes. So squeeze your right one, and then squeeze your left one, and then squeeze your right one, and then squeeze your left one, and then squeeze your right one, and then squeeze your left one, and then squeeze them both together, release them, squeeze them both together, release them, relax your chin so you're not looking backwards, squeeze, release, and notice where you're squeezing from. Are you squeezing your sit bones together, or are you squeezing your toes? Relax your jaw as well, you're not squeezing your jaw, so your sit bones moving together, moving away from each other, moving together, moving away from each other. 2 more before your glutes really do start screaming, and then come back down. Nice. Oh, okay. So take the feet wider than the mat. Let both knees drop to the right side, so your left knee gets a chance to go quite low down, the inside of the knee going towards the floor. Notice how that lengthens the left side of your body all the way up to your armpit. See, I told you you had long legs. And then come back and change sides. Your right knee drops in. Notice the inside of the knee dropping to the floor, and all that length down the right side up into your armpit. And then come back and roll yourself over onto your right side, resting your head. So you're back to where you started. So we're going to stay here now. Put your hand on your belly and breathe into your hand. So just a few seconds of stillness and noticing your breath. Nice and easy. Bring the attention back to the centre of the body. Just allow your mind for a moment to notice your heartbeat. See if you can be still enough to be aware of the rhythm of your body, noticing your heart. And then use your hands when you're ready to gently push yourself up. Sort your hair out. Come up into your kneeling position. Put your hands together. Gently turn to one side. Turn your head in the opposite direction. And swap sides. Whoa. Right and left. Left and right. Just notice your shoulder blades helping pull you around. Might be moving a little bit differently now. then come back to centre and push the hands up. Open them up. Come back and around. Push up. Open up. Come back and around. Push up. Open up. Ooh, good clicking going on. Come back and around. One more. Push up. And open. Come back and around. Lovely. And then draw circles with your shoulders to finish. And then go back the other way. And then shake out your hands. Your wrists release like you're shaking water off them. And then make little fists with your hands, open them up and stretch them out. Stretch them out like you've got elastic bands over your fingers and your thumb, and you're working on the muscles that extend your fingers. So if you spend a lot of time on a keyboard or on your phone texting, if your thumb's a little bit like that, work on the muscles that extend them, open them up. Just as important as working your back muscles. Put an elastic band over them and that will really help give a bit more resistance. Do a little workout for your fingers. Lovely. So thanks for joining me today. Hopefully this is going to be saved. Fingers crossed and everything else. And I'm just waving at everybody who joined this morning. If it comes up, sometimes it lets me do that, sometimes it doesn't. I hope you saw that. Take care. Thanks for joining me. I didn't give you much notice this morning, but if you made it, great. Take care. Love you loads. Bye.